The amount of trees to climb over, it's not even funny. Summit of Yamsi Mountain. No views. Raining.
This is how this FKT adventure started. Well, it started much earlier, with many recon trips, mapping things out, planning calories and whatnot. The usual kind of things. I thought this was going to be a pretty straightforward challenge, and I almost dropped it from my list because I thought, well, maybe it's not challenging enough actually. Well, in the end, it turned out to be one of the harder challenges that I've ever done.
Very slow going. There's no trail to be seen anywhere. I have to navigate with my GPS. Very tiresome because of the post holing. Climbing over trees. Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Over the course of the next almost 58 hours, things went from shaky to almost broken.
Finally that snow is gone and I can move better. But of course the pack is still really super heavy, so it's hard to make good progress.
As a great side effect of the snow and the rain, there was water everywhere. The state of the trail varied a lot. It was anywhere between bushwhacking and not seeing any trail and a perfect trail for running.
Pringles Jello slush. Sugary, salty. Yeah. Just amazing.
Carrying the right amount and the right type of calories for an unsupported adventure is always very challenging. While the rain had finally stopped for a couple of hours, things didn't exactly look good ahead of me.
It's looking very dark ahead, as dark as in my heart.
Soon, the rain started again, and it did stop for almost 24 hours non-stop.
Right now I'm having some trouble having fun. It's just not really working. You can see Hager Mountain in the background. Another unexpected stream where I could have filled up. I could have gone much lighter.
The trails turned from bad to worse, and it was incredibly muddy and everything was caking up on my shoes. Thankfully, I had more or less the right gear for these conditions. When the trail wasn't muddy, it tended to be very technical. There wasn't any straight line, lots of rocks, and just no flat surface, which makes it really hard for running. Sooner than later, night started to fall as I was climbing up a long gradual climb to the winter rim. That's when things started to get really interesting.
It's incredibly foggy. I've lost the trail several times, had to backtrack. Almost gave up. Really challenging here.
At about 10 o'clock at night, I suddenly saw lights in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah!
It turned out that the Oregon Timber Trail Association had their Fremont Stewardship Camp out at the Fremont Point.
How fun is this? Woohoo!
They've been tracking me and waited in the middle of the night and in the rain to cheer me on. That was a huge surprise and a big moral booster. Unfortunately, as my adventure was unsupported, I couldn't accept any hot food or drinks or whatnot.
It is morning, and it's still raining. Not good. I'm soaking wet. It rained all night. It was very foggy, very hard to find the trail. Got lost several times. Went backwards. It was terrible. Absolutely nightmarish night. Really, really miserable. Miserable. It finally stopped raining, but the trails are in absolute terrible state. So am I.
Thankfully, things started to improve around noon on the second day. Another dose of the infamous Jello Pringles slush helped to keep me going.
Grinding up Morgan Butte, I feel pretty dysfunctional.
At the beginning, one of the biggest worries I had on this route was the lack of water on some sections. But this turned out to be the least of my worries.
Great cut. Definitely skilled. Probably one of the guys from the Oregon Timber Trail.
For the second night, I was on the Oregon Desert Trail, and I knew that section pretty well. The night was clear and it was bitterly cold, and there was almost a full moon. I wasn't exactly looking forward to the section that has 13 miles of gravel road and highway. Thankfully, I was able to get that done at night. It all felt like sleepwalking.
Well, not quite. Still very cold. Grinding up to the Warner Mountains. Wow. Literally, just 100 meters behind me, a tree fell in the wind. That was a little scary.
After the second night, I had well over 100 miles in my legs. The moving was rough, but I draw some inspiration from these ants. On the final 10 miles, I lost the trail some more. There were more trees to climb over or under, and it was starting to get really hot. And finally, and suddenly, I was there. I saw V Lake. It had taken me 57 hours and 37 minutes to complete this route. The adventure had been much more challenging than I had ever anticipated. The non-ideal weather conditions certainly contributed to that. Orsina drove me home for 7 hours, and I was able to finally get some sleep on the way.